All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving into the ultimate dental duel, the Great Stain Showdown. On one side, we've got those stubborn, deep-set stains from things like coffee and cola, and on the other, 3 advanced dental treatments, all battling it out to see which one is the absolute best. So who's gonna win?
So here's the setup. We have 3 high-tech contenders, 2 of the most notorious stains out there, and 1 single scientific study to call the shots. This is a real head-to-head battle for not just the brightest, but also the strongest smile.
Okay, first things first, let's get to know the villains of our story. I mean, we all know that a daily coffee or soda can stain your teeth, right? But it's actually way more than just a surface color issue. These drinks create this deep discoloration that is incredibly hard to get rid of, and they do it in very different ways.
Now, the secret weapon in this fight is something called microabrasion. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a super precise chemical peel, but for your teeth. The whole point is to gently, carefully erase that outer stain layer to get to the fresh, clean enamel right underneath it. And the key here is to do it with as little invasion as possible.
And check this out. This is how differently these 2 stains actually attack your teeth. On the left, you've got coffee. It uses these dark things called tannins that literally bond to the proteins in your enamel. That creates a really tough, deep stain. But cola, on the right, is a whole different beast. It's super acidic, so it actually softens the tooth surface, which then allows all those caramel colorants to just seep right in. 2 completely different problems for our contenders to solve.
All right, it is time to meet our fighters. We've got 3 totally distinct microabrasion treatments, and each one comes to the ring with its own unique chemical game plan.
So in our lineup, first step is Opalustre. We're calling it the Veteran. It's a well-known product that uses hydrochloric acid. Then we've got Antavid, the newcomer, which uses a pretty novel hydrofluoric acid. And finally, my personal favorite, the Underdog, a simple paste cooked up in a lab using good old phosphoric acid.
So how do you make sure this is a fair fight? Well, you stage the whole thing in a controlled lab. Researchers set up this really rigorous test to see exactly how each of these contenders would perform when the pressure was on.
So here's how the experiment went down. First, they took 120 human teeth and just soaked them in either coffee or cola for 5 straight days. Talk about intense. Then they treated the teeth with one of our 3 challengers. And finally, they measured 2 absolutely critical things: how much the color changed, and just as important, the hardness of the enamel.
Ding, 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 it is time for round 1, color restoration. This round is all about looks. Which one of these treatments is the best at just erasing those ugly stains and bringing back that brilliant white smile?
The results are in. After all those days of staining and just a single treatment, which one of our fighters actually delivered the biggest, most dramatic improvement in color?
Okay, let's break down this chart. It's actually super simple. The taller the bar, the better the whitening effect. Now just look at those bars. For both the cola stains and the coffee stains, that gray bar, which is our prototype mix, is consistently the tallest. I mean, it's not even close. It's the clear winner.
And we have an upset. The winner of round 1 is the Underdog. That simple homemade lab paste delivered a way better color change than the big-name commercial products. That is a huge win for simplicity.
But here's where it gets really interesting. When you dig into the details, the other 2 contenders were more like specialists. You can see here, Opalustre's strong acid was an absolute beast against those tough coffee stains. Meanwhile, Antivet's unique chemical makeup was the perfect weapon against the acidic stains left behind by cola.
But, whitening is only half the story. A beautiful smile also has to be a healthy one. And that brings us to round 2, enamel strength. Because it's absolutely crucial that a treatment doesn't just remove stains, but that it also protects the tooth itself.
So what happened to the tooth's natural armor in all of this? How did the enamel's hardness hold up after getting blasted by both the staining drinks and then these powerful treatments? Now this chart is all about hardness recovery, basically how well the enamel bounced back after the treatment. And that acidic cola really did a number on the teeth. It made them much softer. But just look at that first group of bars. That blue one for Opalustre is just soaring above the rest. It shows a massive recovery in the enamel's strength.
So, the winner of round 2 is the Veteran. Opalustre was, without a doubt, the champ at restoring enamel hardness. It didn't just get rid of the stain, it actually removed the entire weakened layer left by the cola, which left behind a harder, much more resilient tooth surface.
Okay, so we've got a split decision.
The underdog took the prize for color, while the veteran came back and won on strength. So that brings us to the final verdict. Who is the overall champion of our Great Stain Showdown?
Well, it turns out it's just not that simple. The study's big conclusion is that there is no single one-size-fits-all winner. The best treatment is really the one that's best for a very specific job.
So here's the final scorecard. The prototype paste, it's your undisputed champion for pure whitening power. And it's cheap. Opoluster is the heavyweight champion of structural repair, the master of restoring hardness after acid damage. And Antivit? It's the balanced all-rounder, a really solid and maybe gentler option for certain kinds of stains.
And that really brings us to the biggest takeaway here. The fact that a simple, inexpensive, lab-made paste blew the commercial products out of the water when it came to whitening, well, it leaves us with a really big question. Is it possible the future of advanced dental care is actually way simpler and maybe a lot cheaper than we think? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.